Thank you for turning to page 121. Today we're going to take a look at a really good provider of supplements and information from the mid-90s to early 2000s. Bits Traveler. We've got here 101 Governments and Delta 3 is Down. The only two Bits supplements I actually own. We're going to talk a lot about Bits, why I like them, why they were hard to come by in the 90s, and why you should go ahead and grab your copies off of DriveThruRPG. They're worth it. So today we're going to take a look at Bits Traveler on page 121. So British Isles Traveler Support is what BITS stands for, B-I-T-S. It was started in 1995 by a gentleman named Andy Lilly. They made about 24 products for Traveler, and through the mid-90s to the early 2000s, just at the dawn of the internet era, these guys were putting out some really nice supplements. I only own two, as I said, 101 Governments, and then the adventure Delta 3 is Down. They put out about 24 books over the course of their publishing history. And again, they went from 95 thereabouts through the early 2000s, about 02 or 03. By the way, I couldn't find out much information about Andy Lilly when I searched around online. If anybody knows more about this gentleman, or Andy, if you're listening yourself and you want to chime in with some comments or something, I'd really appreciate it. I wouldn't mind a little more background on you. I like your products, by the way. So these are available on DriveThruRPG very reasonably. They're about $5 a supplement for the PDF. And there was a game that this company also came up with, and I'll get to that in just a moment. So first thing we want to look at is 101 Governments, the only 101 series I own. And this is published in 98. I want to say that in the mid-90s, I couldn't find these. A lot of hobby stores were going out of business or had gone out of business by 95 to 98. They just weren't as plentiful as they had been. And Traveler was in a lower period as well. We were in the mid-90s. We had GDW, Game Designers Workshop, go out of business in early 96. We had Mark Miller's Traveler come out, which was met with mixed reception. And then in 98, we had GURPS Traveler come out to about 2004. So that was kind of a rocky time to be a Traveler fan. And you kind of really had to be in it for the love of the game and the love of the universe to stay with it through the mid-90s. And I did. It was not easy, but I did. And these were one of the bright spots of that run. GURPS, of course, you know, I do like GURPS. There are a couple of books from Mark Miller's Traveler that I actually find very interesting. I've taken a look at a few books from that set. And I've taken a look at a few books from GURPS as well. But by and large, the 90s were a tough time to be a Traveler fan. I had heard of these books, but I had not really seen any until around 2000. And I found a couple at the Games Plus up in Mount Prospect, Illinois. It's about 40 miles from my house. I used to work up in that area in the late 90s to early 2000s, and I was able to find a few of these there. They had a whole series of them. Unfortunately, I never had the $8 to buy this or that. These are the only two I was able to snag. So here we go. 101 Governments, published in 1998. And we get a bunch of different types of governments. These are not the law levels or anything. It's just different types of governments. So here's the introduction, the format that they've got. And these are pretty system agnostic. You can use these with any form of Traveler or really any other science fiction game. So if you're running Star Frontiers or Space Opera or anything like that, these will fit there beautifully. So here we go. We start out with no government, an Eden world where everybody just kind of lives with the land. Then we got the company and corporation, one of my favorite forms of bad guy governments. And then we come through a participating democracy. Surprisingly, can be quite a bad guy government. Self-perpetuating oligarchy. They give here the Jane Austen world. So 18th century Britain would be the template for that. That's kind of a neat idea. One of the things I liked about this is they went into things like Thebes by Robert Heinlein, where they were just saying, okay, this is straight out of this. Go ahead and adapt it to your Traveler game. I thought that was a pretty neat idea. Representative democracy, as opposed to a true democracy. There is a difference. Feudal technocracy, very common in Traveler. Captive government, also kind of common in Traveler. Balkanization, where parts of the world are not united and they're fighting each other for reasons. We're halfway through the book on page 28. So it's a 56-page book. Civil service bureaucracy. These are very common, and arguably the Imperium could be called one of these. I like this book. I've gotten a lot of ideas. This book is beautiful for adventure hooks. You're stuck for an idea. You've got a world you need to flesh out, and it's just a string of numbers on the traveler map. You can drop into here and find something that'll fit it. Impersonal bureaucracy, also arguably exactly what the Imperium is. And then we go to a charismatic dictatorship. Again, you could argue that that's what the Imperium is. Non-charismatic leader. Charismatic oligarchy. And a religious dictatorship. So as you see, you get the full traveler spread across the entire book. I stopped here for the Men of Bronze, as anyone who's watched my channel for a while knows. I am a big Doc Savage fan. He is called the Man of Bronze because of his bronze skin. So this, I didn't remember this being in here. That's kind of cool. I'm going to have to read that completely. I don't think it has anything to do with Doc Savage. I think it was just a coincidence. And then we have a little bit of a glossary with words like plebiscite and quisling, which is just cool. And then there's the back of the book, and we're out. So this is part of their 101 series. They did about a dozen or so of these books for 101 religion, 101 cargoes, 101 alien races, that kind of stuff. They're called out here in the second book, Delta 3 is Down. Now, Delta 3 is Down is one of the adventures that they published. They didn't publish a bunch of adventures. This one's really neat, and oddly enough, I'm not going to go through a ton of detail on it because it is an adventure. I don't want to spoil it. So for right now, I'm just taking a general overview of British Isle Travelers site, Traveler Support. British Isle Traveler Support. If in the future you want me to actually go into this adventure, I'd be happy to. I've got a piece of energetic fuzz on here. There we go. Okay, so you get the nice little plastic cover, and then Delta 3 is Down. And here we go. We get Delta 3 is Down, Space Dogs, the Kid Car Incident, 101 Plots, 101 Patrons, 101 Cargoes, 101 Rendezvous, 101 Travelers, 101 Governments, and 101 Life Forms with 101 religions. So very useful, very great way to catch your adventure hooks for your traveler game. This guy was published in 2001. And I'm only going to show a little bit because this is a very intriguing adventure. I remember reading this. I did not read this through in preparation for this, but I do remember enjoying this adventure where you actually play Zodani. You're aboard a Zodani ship that crashes on Emerald in Imperial territory. It either crashes or lands, depending on how you want to run the adventure. And there are 6 pre-generated Zodani player characters in here. So you would be playing Zodani behind possibly hostile lines. And there's your ship. And that's as far as I'm going to go. So this is a nifty little adventure that I remembered I liked a lot, and I am going to take the opportunity to reread. And if you guys are interested in taking a deeper look and maybe having some spoilers, I'd be happy to do that. Please let me know in the comments. Generally, I will try to avoid spoilers when I'm telling people about something that maybe they weren't aware of, or it's something that they hadn't decided if they wanted to dive into. I don't want to wreck this adventure if you're going to go ahead and buy it. So, as I said, they had many different adventures, 101 books, that kind of stuff. The other thing that they did is they came up with Power Projection. It was a space combat game that was published around 2002, and it was published with the permission of Full Thrust and Traveler. So it combines the Full Thrust series, which I did play in the early 2000s. It's actually a pretty good series. But I've never played Power Projection. That is available, the base game is available on DriveThruRPG as well. I think it runs about $17. These supplements on DriveThruRPG run about $5 each. So if you've got a little cash burning a hole in your pocket and you want to read some stuff that you may not have even known about, these are really good choices. Anybody that's been familiar with these or had even maybe worked on some of these, if you want to put some comments below and expand my knowledge about Bits Traveler, I'd be very interested. I like these supplements a lot. I have a few on PDF. I need to pick up some more. And I have to admit, I don't have power projection, but the more I've been reading about it when I was researching this video, the more I thought I may need to pick that up. So if I pick that up as a PDF, once I read it over, I may take a look at it on the channel. So that's it for today on page 121. If you have any comments or polite criticisms, please leave them below. If there's more on the Bits product you want to see, please let me know. If you have information about Bits that I didn't cover, please let me know. I'm always interested in hearing some more Traveler lore. So thank you for watching. Please remember that I've got the Patreon going right now. And that's it for today on page 121. I'll see you next time.